Ryan Preece needs a home run, and I mean that almost literally. His own crew chief told him exactly that on Saturday morning in New Hampshire. So today we're breaking down exactly what that means, why he's fighting two separate championship battles at once, and what has to happen these next 2 weeks for the RFK Racing number 60 team to make the chase. And hey, real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation news is just getting started. We are pushing for our next subscriber milestone, and it's all about real talk from fans who live this sport every week. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with where things actually stand, because it's more complicated than just one number. Ryan Preece is 50 points behind Shane Van Gisbergen for that final spot in the Cup Series Chase for the championship in the driver standings. That's a real gap to make up with limited races left. But here's the thing. There's a second battle happening at the exact same time. Preece was hit with a 25-point driver's penalty earlier this season for his incident with Ty Gibbs at Texas. Because that penalty only applied to his individual driver points, his car, the RFK number 60 itself, is only 25 points behind Van Gisbergen's Trackhouse, number 97, and the owner's chase for the championship. So you've essentially got two different math problems, two different point totals, and two different paths to the playoffs, all running at once for this one team. So what does Preece actually need? He said it himself, a little bit of attrition, either from Van Gisbergen or from Cindric, mixed with him going out and maximizing every single point he can grab at New Hampshire and Daytona. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Preece explained that heading into Daytona, his team is going to be on offense no matter what happens this weekend. He said he'd much rather be in Chris Buescher's shoes, sitting around 60 points above the cut line. Because at that point, it takes a Hail Mary, a total grand slam for someone to get knocked out. But if RFK is within 10 to 15 points of Shane or Cindric heading into that race, Preece believes they have a real, legitimate shot. Why does that gap matter so much? Preece broke down the psychology of it. He said the drivers ahead of him are going to head into Daytona thinking about survival, just trying to finish the race and not put themselves in jeopardy. And when you're racing that cautiously, you tend to give up stage points along the way. Meanwhile, if Preece's team goes out and attacks those stage points the way they have before, it puts pressure right back on the leaders. His words were that it puts them in, quote, oh boy mode. Now let's talk about New Hampshire specifically, because this one carries extra weight for Preece. It's his home track. And he made it clear that he feels like this is the race where his team can take a real bite out of that points gap with Van Gisbergen. He said the mindset heading in was simple. They came in trying to go for it all. One more detail worth mentioning here. Preece will actually start ahead of both Van Gisbergen and Cindric, the two drivers he's chasing, lining up from the 8th row. That gives him a real chance to rack up stage points right from the drop of the green flag. So what does a home run race actually look like for Preece? In his own words, qualifying up front, piling up stage points, and contending for a win, maybe even winning outright. He pointed to Penske's Ford program as proof that strong short track speed is out there, noting that Cindric had a great points day last week, which Cindric needed at the time. Preece also touched on something a little more personal. The grind of just quietly running well. He said it's tough, because when your team runs great every week, nobody's really talking about it. But he was clear that this particular stretch is the one that matters most. He broke down the math one more time for good measure. Strong qualifying and practice sessions set up the whole race. And he pointed out that a team can rack up a ton of stage points across stage 1 and stage 2, then finish 10th or 12th overall, and that still adds up to a massive points day. Combine that kind of day with a little bad luck for Van Gisbergen, and Preece says there's definitely a path. He closed with one more example to put it all in perspective, pointing out that Joey is 150 points removed from where he stood just 6 races ago. In other words, point swings like that can happen fast in this sport. So here's the recap. Preece is 50 back in the driver standings, but only 25 back in the owner standings because of that Texas penalty. 2 races left. New Hampshire, his home track, and then Daytona, where he says his team will be playing offense the entire time. What do you think, NASCAR Nation? What do you think, NASCAR Nation? Can Ryan Preece and the number 60 team actually pull off that home run at his home track and punch their way into the chase? Drop your prediction in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you're subscribed to NASCAR Nation News because we've got you covered all season long.